Sunil, you are practicing the programs.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, area
Overloading.
overloading constructor. So, if I'm not providing any constructor, I can create an object for the class. For example, I'm creating one class. Okay. So, in the further class, I'm not providing any constructor. So, in that case, we can. In that case, like we can create an object for that class.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, for example, I have my class is having a parameterized constructor, and but I am trying to create an object and I am not passing any parameters. In that case, we'll get any compile time error or our program will compile. Did you understand my question? Like, for example, we have a class and we don't have a default constructor, and in the class, right? So we are providing parameterized constructor, and while creating the object, we are not passing any parameters for the constructor. Will it compile?
No, sir.
No. The reason? Reason is not.
Because there is a parameter at constructor.
Okay. So we created the parameterized constructor and then we are creating default like normally when we are creating the constructor, right? So we need to provide the arguments. Okay. Okay. So all these rules we have to follow while creating the constructor and while initializing the values. Okay. And yeah, so we discussed overloading, right? So now today we'll discuss overriding. So what is overriding? Anyone knows like where we can use the overriding?
In inheritance.
Inheritance we can use, yes. And overriding, yeah, it will happen between the classes. Okay, uh, so when we are having like a parent class method and child class method, so the different implementations. So between the classes, so we'll be having the same method and the different implementation. So different implementation we can use. So nothing but overriding. So So we should follow some overriding rules. We should follow some overriding rules when we are going to creating the when we are going to write the overriding methods. Like for example, in order to achieve overriding rules, okay, we need to follow some except during exception handling. We need to follow some overriding rules that we'll be discussing in uh, at that exception handling concept, and we need to look for the access we need to look for the access modifiers. So if we have like access modifiers will have a scope. So based on that scope also overloading we can achieve, and we should follow some rules while you are writing the methods. While you are writing the methods. Okay. So overriding, it will happen during the so when the method is going to execute, right, at the time of when we are going to execute the method. For example, um, I have a one parent class method and child class method. In that case, like if you want to call in, if you want to invoke the method, right? So how it is going to happen based on the runtime, which object we are going to create. So that time it is going to execute. So for example, we have a parent and child concept. Like we are creating the parent class reference holding the child class object. In that case, child class method it will be invoked, right? So, for example, Okay, so let's take. I didn't share my screen, right?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, now. Or you want to see?
Yes.
Are you able to see, right?
Yes, sir.
So here also we are using instance. Interface of also we are using overriding and we are achieving the abstract class also we are overriding. We are using overriding, right? Now when parent can hold a child, when parent can hold a child, the service class is replace it. Go to this. Okay, next we have to keep extents. I don't know why I'm not giving a earlier last class also we missed that. So which method it is going to invoke when I'm executing this test demo, when I'm running using Java test demo. So which method it is going to execute? It is going to execute a parent class method or sorry child class method or parent class method.
Child class method.
Child class method it is going to execute because so in this case So in this case, right, what we are going to do, like in the runtime, we are parent reference is holding the child object. In runtime, we are going to create an object of test demo. Okay. So in that case, it is going to execute from test demo. So test demo class test method. It means so this statement it is going to print. This statement it is going to print. Clear? As of now, clear? We'll be having like a different scenarios. We'll create an objects and we'll invoke the methods and we'll see. Clear this concept?
Yes, sir.
So why it is calling only why it is calling test demo class test method because in the runtime we are going to create an object. Okay. So that is the reason it is going to call first that like first it is going to check like whether the test method is available in the child class. If it is not there, it will call from the parent. right? So I am removing this method. My code will compile. I am
No,
removing the.
not compile.
So just check here. Just check here. Like we are removing the test method in the child class. This code will compile or not. Come on, like this method is going to like this class is going to compile or not. This will compile because see at the doing the compilation of time, it is going to check whether the what is the type of T. It is a test class. So T dot test method is already available. Then it will compile. It won't throw any error. Just save it. Sorry, compiling. It is compiling, right? See, even though I'm creating the object from the in runtime, even though if I'm creating the object for the child class, but still it is calling like still it is calling like this child is have access to call the parent class method, right? So in that case, like um, here t dot text method we are calling, and then here it is not available, then directly it goes like the parent class method. Okay, now I'm using this one. So what is the output now? This code will compile.
Yeah, compile.
Will compile. And when I'm calling this, see it is going to execute, right? It is going to execute from the parent. So now if you want to, like I'm going to create an object like this. So now I am doing this. So now this code will compile or not. See, all these are the scenarios in the interview. Definitely they'll ask simple things like they'll be filtering like whether we will be knowing the OOPS concept or not. Perfectly. Yeah. So now I'm creating the object of child class. Now I'm going to hmm, now I'm going to call test method. This will be compiled. We have an extends keyword and we are calling the test method. This will compile.
Yes, sir.
Yes, compile.
Okay, just see compile or not. And just run this class. Now it got compiled. Okay. The same scenario. Now I am going to create an object of. Now I am going to create an object of test. Now I am compiling this class. Will it compile? See what I did? I removed the test method in the parent class. I removed the test method in the parent class. I'm creating the parent class object and t dot test. This code will compile?
No, sir.
No. What is the reason? Hmm.
Test is a parent class and there is no method called a test.
Yeah, there is no method call. There is no method available in the parent class. So in that case, just you cannot find the symbol t dot test method because see, t is pointing to the test class and this test method is not going to. It is not available in the parent class. So that's why it is showing a compile time error. So the same scenario, if I am going to use, if I am removing the test method, same scenario, I am passing here test demo. In this case, See, all these things like the different scenarios, like we'll be getting in the overriding concept, like they'll be asking some different questions. Hmm. So now this code will compile. You're getting confused, or you are able to understand the concept. Sanjay, Dhruva, Manjunath, Sunil, able to follow? Manoj?
Yes, sir. Understand.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. So I'm not going to ask every time you are able to understand or not, every time you need to answer, or else you can ping me in the chat so that I can come to know that whether you are understanding the concept or not. Okay. So now in this case, the code will compile or not. So it won't compile because like still this is during at the compile time, right? Like the compile time, it is going to check t dot test method is available. Same method we are going to get. Same error we are going to get. Why we are getting the same error? Because the parent type test method. It is not available. So that is the reason we are going to get compile time error. So like this, the interviewer is going to confuse you. The interviewer is going to confuse you about this concept. Okay. Now I'm going to create test demo. Test demo t equal to new test. So is it possible? Hmm. Like this, is it possible? So child reference is means like holding a parent object. So it won't possible because like child or reference like child the object is cannot hold the parent class. Child reference is not able to access the parent class object. So that's why it is going to get incompatible types. Incompatible types. So later we'll see like what is the type casting and all, how we can do that. Okay, this is like an incompatible type, so that is the reason it is throwing an error. That is the reason it is throwing an error. So now I'm going to write down another like constructor. So I can write down the default constructor, right? If I am not writing the default constructor when the creation of like while compiling the code itself, like compiler is going to provide default constructor. So I think everyone knows, right? We already discussed like yesterday's class. Demo constructor. Okay, let's save this one and run it. Here we can see the different concept. See test demo. What is it? It is going to call test a demo class test method because like in the runtime we are going to create an object. In the runtime we are going to create an object, but here if we extend by default, right? So from one, if you have a constructor, from one constructor to the other constructor default constructor, other class default constructor, if you want to invoke, you don't need to call explicitly any this operator or super keyword. So by default it is going to call. by default it is going to false. See test demo class constructor. See, actually we are going to create an object for the test demo class, right? So, but why it is not executing the first of why it is not getting executed test demo class constructor? Because even though we are using like even though it has to execute, but we have a parent class. So you know, right, the constructor how it is going to behave. So this constructor is going to behave like between the classes, not within the same class. Okay. So if you are using any extends keyword or if you are using any parent class, then it executes the parent class constructor and then it comes to child class. You know, right? Constructor concept like it initialize the values from bottom to top and execute the constructor executing from top to bottom. So now here we created here we created the child class object. Okay, I want to call I want to call without without creation of like any parent class method or like during the child class test method execution itself, I want to call the parent class test method. Parent class test method. So is it possible? So my requirement is here we have a test like we are going to create a test demo class object. So in that case we are calling test method. So directly control comes to here. In the runtime we are going to create test demo class object. So in this case I want to before like the how constructor is behaving, right? How constructor is behaving. So it is going to behave like when we are going to create an object for test demo, then it comes to the default constructor. So here it is extending the test class. In that case it is going to execute the parent class constructor first and then it is executing the child class constructor. See output here, test class constructor it is executing, test demo class constructor after that, test demo class test method it is going to invoke, right? The same way it has to happen, the how the constructor is behaving, right? The same way I want to call we are creating the child class object and we are calling the test method, then control comes to here. Now here from here I want to call the parent class test method. So which concept we can use? Anyone?
Using super keyword?
Using
Super keyword, sir.
yes, using super keyword we can call the between the classes like from one class to other class if you want to invoke between the classes. Okay, if you want to call the parent class super methods, then we are going to use super. Super keyword is only for method level or variables also we can use.
Method level, method and constructor, sir.
Method and constructor I think like we can use for the variables also. We can use for the variable level also. Just try out from your
I'm
side.
not sure. Yes, sir.
Try out from your side like whether we can able to call or not. Okay,
Okay.
so we are going to create a runtime object like so in the runtime we are going to create test demo class object and we are calling t dot test method, then control comes to here and the first statement. So do we require to write the first statement or else we can after SOP statement we can write down super dot test method.
No, we need to write in the first statement only.
We need to write only the first statement. Okay, like as this keyword we are going to use, right? So this keyword this like the super keyword also we are going to use in the exception handling when we are going to use the custom exceptions. There we will be discussing how we can create a custom exceptions and all. See now today like we use a super keyword, okay, and we are calling the method. Then obviously when I'm calling t dot test method, then directly control comes to here and it executes like it will execute the first line, then it will look for the parent class method and it execute this one. Then after that, this statement will execute. So just run this class. The first anyway constructor will execute right first before calling the method. before calling this method, constructor is going to initialize, right? Like because like we are going to create an object, then this is nothing but a constructor. Constructor directly it comes to here, then it will check like is there any extends keyword. Yes, it is a parent class. Test class is a parent class. Then it is going to execute. Then it come back to this constructor. It is going to execute. Then we are calling t dot test method. Then directly the control goes to here. It is going to check whether in the runtime which object we are going to create. It is going to create like test demo class. So we are going to create test demo class. In that case, the test demo class method is going to execute. Okay. Then the first statement we are writing super.test. Then control goes to here, and it is going to execute the test class test method. Okay. And then it is going to execute this statement. So that's the reason it is called test class test method and then test demo test method. Clear? Guys, clear or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, sorry. Okay. So still we have a, like, can we override the final methods? Can we override the static methods?
No, sir.
So why we are unable to override the static methods? Anyone have any idea?
In runtime, we are not creating the objects. I think. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, sir.
No, that is correct only. Like because the static always static method when it is going to like execute, like it's kind of like it is going to bind the values at the during the compilation itself. Okay. So in that case, like overriding will be happen at what time? Like always, it is going to happen at the runtime. So that's why if you are even if you are writing the static methods, it treat as like a normal method, normal static method. It doesn't comes under like a overriding concept, right? So why we have to answer to the interviewer? So why we cannot override the static methods? Because static always it will be done during the compilation of time. Done during the compilation, like static binding. What is the concept of static binding and uh, late binding and early binding? Late binding is nothing but like it is nothing but like the runtime we are going to create an objects and we are going to invoke the methods. But early binding is nothing but like a static methods we are going to invoke, right? So in that case, like without creation of object, we are going to invoke the static methods, right? So that is the reason like we cannot override the static methods. Can we extend a final class? We are making a class as a final. Can we extend? I want to create a one class, and that class should not extend any other class. Then you have to make class as a final. You have to make class as a final. So all immutable classes in Java, right? So if you take any string class also, so those classes are the final classes because so even though we are trying to extend any final classes, right? So the compiler itself it will throw an error. So this it's compiled cannot inherit from the final test because you are making the classes a final. Okay, so they'll be asking you like a scenario. So we are 10 members in the team. Okay, so I'm going to ask one question. For example, I want to create a class, and then that class should not create an object directly, but whatever the methods inside that class that can be accessible by the every developer. In that case, so which concept it is? Again, I'm telling. So we have a class. Okay. So we are all like this, 10 team members. Okay. So I'm going to create a class. Okay. This class object should not create directly, and okay, and I want to use the methods. I want to use the methods without creation of object. In that case, what keyword we have to use in front of class?
Abstractor.
The
Abstractor
specifiers
method,
or
sir.
the final keyword.
Final keyword. Final keyword. If we are using, we cannot extend, right? How we can use those methods? So now itself, like we are making final as a keyword. Yeah. In that case, it is not. It is not going to allow us, right? Public.
Yeah, public, sir.
Uh-huh.
Public class. Access
So public
modifiers.
class,
Yeah.
if you are if you are
Public
creating,
plus.
we are going to create
Uh,
an object for that class, right?
yeah.
You want to restrict. I want to restrict that class. Okay. So none of the developers should not create a class. For example, none of the developers should not create that class object. So it will not allow any developer to create an object.
Then private, sir.
Private. We can extend private classes.
No, sir. We can use only in the same class.
Okay, just check like can we extend the private classes? Private modifier is
Yeah.
not allowed here.
Yeah.
Huh. Then in that case, like I cannot use any inheritance concept, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. Default or protected. Default is for same package.
Mhm.
Protected.
Protected.
Public access is the. I'm not sure about that, sir.
Okay. So I'll tell you. Like for example,
Mm.
uh, the scenario is now we are not going to write down. See, now we have to make a class as an abstract. We cannot create an abstract class object, right? We can have a
Yeah.
constructor. Huh. So let's say, for example, void test. That case, like we can override and we can implement, right? So
Yes, sir.
I'm creating this class object. I'm writing this class, but I'm not allowing to any other developer to create this class object directly, and
Mm.
we can use like we can override. For example, if we have a concrete method here, we can use those class methods, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. So in this case, like our class will compile or not?
Model test.
Okay, abstract we have to define,
Yeah, abstract void test.
right? You understand the scenario, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You remove the super keyword. It is not going to help us now because abstract method, right?
Yeah.
It is compiled, right? So our
Yes, sir.
scenario is like I want to create a class that class object should not created like you should not create from any developer. Then I want to use those class methods. In that case, so we can make our class as an abstract class, and then we can override that method. We can start implementing the method, and if we have any concrete methods inside the abstract class, that can be accessible because we are going to create an object for we are going to create an object for non-abstract class, right? This is nothing but like a non-abstract class.
Yeah.
Nothing but a non-abstract class we are going to create, and we are going to make a call. So this time we are not creating the objects directly. Indirectly we are creating the object for the implementation class and we are invoking the method. So the other scenario, the other scenario, if you want to make, for example, I don't want to inherit the class. from any other developer. I want to create a class, then
Mm.
initialize the values to constructor, but I should not allow any other developer to extend my class, inherit my class.
Okay.
So you are going to create one class, and that class should not be accessible by any other developer.
We can make it private.
Private is the best answer because like private classes we cannot extend. Already we discussed private, right? So earlier, like if you are making a private class, so we cannot inherit that class.
Final answer is wrong.
Final also we cannot. I think final also we cannot extend. Just try to do that. Test is not enough. Okay. Remove this. Look for dummy implementation. So we cannot inherit the final class. Private classes also we cannot extend. And the other rules. Any other points? We have a scope level, right? Just remove this. You guys will confusing like in the notepad. Like we are removing like constructors. So remove this. This is not like a syntax. Like in the interviews, definitely they'll ask. Yes, they'll be simply writing some snippet code and they'll ask like whether this class will compile or not. What is that? Just read and understand what is it. See in the parent class we are writing the public and child class we are writing as a default. Huh. These kind of things earlier you practiced, yes, got
Yes, sir.
got trained from the other institutes and all, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is this problem? Attempting to assign weaker access privileges was public.
Like we have to make that text method also public.
Default is having weaker position compared to the public.
Default is having weaker access. So what is like the priority for the access modifiers? Like which one is the first we have to decide?
Like for private, we can use only in the
Public
same
is
class.
accessible for everything.
Public is accessible for any package and all this.
For default, we can access it in only same package, sir.
Same package, yes. What about protected?
Protected, we can access in
To
same
the
package
next
as well as
class.
different package.
We can
Within
access
the same package.
within the same package. Within the same package.
No, no, different package also, but using inheritance.
Yeah, subclasses. So
Hmm.
the default, like the protected, we are going to use. Okay, we can use the protected keyword. Okay, for the methods for the package and the subclass of the package. For example, I have a test class and the package name of ABC.
Yes, if there is any relationship.
Yeah, if there is any relationship for the other package and if you are going to extend, then subclasses we can use. Private, private.
Within the class.
Within the
Within the class.
So within the class we can use.
Inside the class.
Okay. So all these modifiers like just change it and play around. So what is it like in the interview? Like this is for like they'll this is kind of like overriding rules. When we are going to using the overriding concept, you have to follow these kind of rules. And one more rule also is there when we are going to discuss like exception overriding concept rules, like exception handling, right? So there we are going to discuss like, so if the parent class implements, like parent class throws an exception, child class also should throw same exception, or child class exception we can throw, or parent class exception we can throw. What happened if the does not parent class method does not throw any exception, or else child class we can throw only runtime exceptions or compile time exceptions we can throw. So we'll be having a different scenarios, like 7 to 8 scenarios. There we are going to discuss definitely during overriding concept. So overriding concept is always like the most confusable one, because if you are using overloading, simply you are passing the arguments and it is going to get decide like which method it is going to call. But overriding is not like that. It is happening between the classes, and that too we have like a different rules we are going to follow when you are using overriding, right? So what is inheritance? What is inheritance? Hmm. Anyone?
Deriving the parent property to the child.
Acquiring the parent properties from to the child class. So why basically we are using inheritance concept in Java? What-
To reuse the code.
We,
Reduce
okay,
the number of
reusability purpose, like we are going to use the inheritance concept, because like so we in the parent class method we have one method, and then if you want to, okay, if you are using if you are using extends keyword directly, like we are going to create a object of the child class, then you no need to write directly. You can call from that object. For example, the child class object I am going to create, from there I can directly access the parent class method. Directly access the parent class method. So how many types of inheritance is there? How many types
I
of
think for
four?
like single level, multi level,
Uh,
and
five. Okay.
hybrid and hierarchical.
Hybrid and hierarchy. Okay, even I don't know. See, in the projects regularly, like we are going to use a single level inheritance or multi level inheritance. Multiple inheritance anyway, it is not going to support. But majorly, like we are not extending more than one class, right? So in that case, we are going to use a single level inheritance. If you are extending more than one class, definitely there will be an ambiguity. We are going to get compile time error, right? So multiple inheritance is not possible in Java. So indirectly, with the help of interfaces, we can achieve that one, right? So single level inheritance means how we are going to achieve. Hmm. One parent,
One child.
okay. So one parent and one child, we are going to use single level inheritance. Multi level inheritance, one parent.
One parent with a multiple child.
Child is having a parent and parent is having their parent, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in that case, like we can use
Yes, sir.
multi-level inheritance. So you and your father and your grandfather, right? So yeah, multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance, how we can use
More than one parent and one child.
more than one parent.
One child.
Like through interface, we can achieve
Yeah,
the
through interface we can achieve as I told, but why it is not achievable through classes? Anyone knows?
like in runtime while creating the objects, it will consider
Hmm. Let's say
Every
for example, yeah, go ahead.
because of ambiguity between classes.
Yeah, because let's say for example class A, okay, and class B. So class C extends A comma B. Class A is having like one method and class B has having the same method. In that case, like the compiler is going to get confused like which method it is going to call. Compiler is going to get like which method it is going to call. So how we will be getting ambiguity? I'll give one simple example. Okay, it's not part of inheritance, but simply I'm giving like so. I'm using public constructor, right? Let's take main method. My code will compile now. Hello? Yes.
Answer.
No, sir.
Okay. It won't compile. No one passing null. This code will compile. I'm passing null. Integer is what? So which method, which constructor it is going to execute? Is a
We have
constructor
to,
only, right? Hmm?
yes,
Which constructor it is going to invoke?
Default.
Default it is not there, right? See, like it is
Okay, it's
actually
not going to come.
it is nothing but like an argument, right?
for string we
If you write a
need
default of
to write in codes, right?
string, we need to write down in the codes. Okay. Is it possible like string s equals to null? Possible.
No, sir. We need to write in double code.
Okay.
But for integer default value, I am not sure.
It is a default value.
I don't know, sir. Zero or null. Bit confused.
Either I equals to null. Is it possible? integer. So Sunil, you told right, like Sunil or someone, I don't know exactly.
Sir.
So this case, like it is going to execute the default constructor, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just like in your Eclipse, just try to okay, I'll only do that. This is compiling or not? See, if it is not going to compile, here we are going to get red mark right in the right side.
Yes.
This is going to compile or not? It got compiled, right? It got compiled, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So in this case, it is a valid, right? If you are passing null, it's a valid, right?
Okay.
Forget about these two lines. In the see why I have written. So you guys told the string means like we have to provide in the double quotations. String is like what? String is what?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Java long circuit.
What is this? Class, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a class, right?
Yes.
Can I write down like this? Test t equals to null. Hmm?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Test t equal to like test demo t equal to null because like so we can nullify the class, right? We can nullify the
Not
class.
getting, sir.
Huh?
Not getting, sir.
Not getting. Okay. So just try to remove this method. Okay. We'll be getting like for null we cannot call the methods on that. Okay. So in our case, just remove this public. So just try to observe here. Test demo is a class and we are pointing to null. Okay.
Okay.
Demo is
Okay.
like we are pointing to null. This code will compile or not.
It will compile, sir.
It will compile, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it is going to compile. It is going to compile means we're not getting any problem during the compilation. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, an object can be nullified, right? Test demo t is like a reference. Reference can be nullified, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. In that case, come here. I'm passing null.
Hmm.
This null will goes
First,
to this null will goes
first
to
string. First public run test message.
public front test
Run
method.
test string. Yeah.
It is going to execute this one or this
Yes,
one.
sir.
This one or this one.
Default confirm.
Default
Okay,
constructor.
both was married.
See, how come the default constructor it is going to work? Because it won't
No,
execute
we
the
have
default.
not created object. Yeah,
We are creating the object with an argument.
arguments.
So in this case, okay, I'll tell you. So here, if you come down here, string is accepting the null and integer is accepting the null. Integer is nothing but like a wrapper class. Integer is nothing but a see this is a class, right? This is a class and string is also class. So both class, yeah, both classes like we are going to like we can nullify the both classes. So in that case, we'll be getting we are passing null. The compiler is going to check like whether during like the compilation whether we need to this constructor we are assigning, we are passing the null. So either this can be executed this or this. Compiler is going to get confused. Compiler is going to get confused like which constructor. Either I need to call the strings argument constructor or int arguments constructor. So both are the classes. Both classes we can nullify it and we can pass this one. We can pass either I integer is a class, string is a class. So in that case, definitely compiler is going to get ambiguity. So which constructor we need to call? Because what is the class name? Run test, right? So what is this? Reference to the run test ambiguous, right? So it is going to get ambiguity. Compiler is going to get ambiguity like which constructor we need to call. So here it won't like here it won't call the default constructor. Here it won't call the maybe like we didn't save. Just run this again. Here we are not calling any run. Here we are not calling any default constructor, right? So this is nothing but an ambiguity. This is nothing but an ambiguity. So compiler is going to check like whether like if I pass null either. So we are going to think, okay, string we can nullify it. String we can nullify it. In that case, okay, we can call this constructor. We can call this constructor. See, interviews also like this. They are going to ask some tricky questions, small things. They are changing the parameters during the constructor or any overloading. They will be passing and they will be asking the question. So now I'm passing 10. This code will compile or not?
Yes.
This code will compile and what it is going to print.
Inside integer.
Inside
Inside integer
integers.
it is going to because this can be like string cannot accept the integers, so like this is an integer value and it is going to accept. It is going to accept. So inside integer it is printing. Inside integer it is printing. So now if I pass any string value,
That's string value.
it is going to print inside string. Okay. So if I am passing, if I am not passing any value, if I am not passing any value,
Default constructor.
so it is going to execute default constructor. But still it is calling inside string. Why? Why still it is calling inside constructor? Sorry, inside string. The output is inside string only, right? It is printing. Why it is calling? Anyone is having idea? This is a default constructor, right? Why like the compiler like while running the program, why this is giving a priority? Even though we have a default constructor, if you write a string, why it is giving a priority to execute string only? Not getting?
No, sir.
Hmm. Sorry.
First it will execute default, then line by line comes second one string.
But in the console, we are not getting that default constructor, right? It is printing inside string only, no? Hmm. I'll tell you the reason why. So the reason why is we saved this class, like we removed the null, we removed that hello, and we saved the class. Directly we run the class. We are not compiled. Correct, right?
Yes.
Guys, able to understand or not? So we didn't compile that. So simply like I confused like why it is called. Right now, once I compile, then it is calling the default constructor because it was referring the old dot class file. The old dot class file, it is having still the string is having hello only. So that's why it is calling like an inside string. You're simply like confused like whether it is going to it has to call the default constructor why it is calling the string inside string. Clear? So like that, we'll be having a different scenarios. So going forward, definitely I'll explain. So it will be helpful for your client round once you joined, or else if your manager is getting doubt during the interview, like we performed well, and so after the interview, so I'm not getting the exact the answers from the during the interview what we have given. So that is the reason like I'll be concentrating some interview questions during the core Java. So how they're going to ask the questions in the interview on that, right? So all these scenarios you just try out and practice and explore on top of that. Okay. So tomorrow we'll start inheritance like examples. One or two we'll explain, and directly we'll go for interface concept. Directly we'll go for interface concept, and we'll discuss static and final, and then we'll start exception handling. Clear?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So just try to practice more and more examples so that it will avoid the confusions always. Okay, guys. So tomorrow we'll start the class on morning 8:50. Okay. Today I have some work, so that's the reason I didn't take the class. So or else if you guys are okay to take every day night, that is also fine. Every day evening same. That is your
Yeah, sir.
option. Every day evening we can take
Yeah, sir.
because we can have a nice sleep on the morning and then evening only we can take. Fine, right? Morning.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
how many people are morning? Okay, first room. Okay, morning. Okay, because this is like dinner time, huh? Okay, we'll sort out like we'll see like majority of the people like how the people is. Nanju, you have any work in the evening times? Manoj and Nanju.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are working anywhere or how it is?
No, like gym, sir.
Okay, you are in gym, huh? Okay, at what time you are going to gym?
6 evening,
Evening 6. So how many hours you will do gym?
like 6 to 8, and traveling around 15 minutes, 8:50, 15
8:50
minutes.
you will be using, huh? Okay. So they are not going to open the gym on 5:30 like this.
Yeah, they will open. But
So
again,
like,
that's why.
sorry,
Again, dinner, no, sir. We need to prepare.
that is also correct point only. So
No, we'll see the majorities.
hmm. Because no, sometimes like morning, no, why I'm not getting time. Sometimes because like my baby is not going to sleep. Like
Okay. Uh,
so
got it.
night time she'll always cry. That is the
Mm.
one problem. And the other one is I used to go to bed by 1 o'clock, like that, 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
Yeah, okay, got it, sir.
So So that's why like sometimes I'm unable to wake up.
Okay, then we'll make this.
And or else we'll see like can you adjust for 1 week? After that, like anyway, I'm going to finish the Hibernate concept. Then
Yes,
in afternoon sessions we can take
sure, sir.
because like in afternoon sessions, right? So before 6 we'll try to take.
Yes.
So things are not going to happen. I'm okay. Like 9 o'clock also. Daily 9 o'clock we can take till 10:30 we can take and we can going to
Yes. Mm.
based on majority of the people.
Sir, but afternoon
Hmm.
it is difficult for me.
For you, you are working mostly. I understood. Okay.
Morning
For
or
you,
evening either okay. Morning 8 o'clock or evening 8 o'clock. It is better.
okay. Okay. Considering all the points, okay, we'll see like how it is. Hmm. So tomorrow morning, if I'm not taking 8 o'clock, then we'll be taking the class on the evening. Like, is it fine for 8:30? Manju, for you?
8:15 only for sir. I will go earlier. That's it.
Okay, 8 o'clock is fine, huh, for you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. 8
8.
o'clock is fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Okay, guys. Like we'll wind up. Then tomorrow we'll take class on evening only. Hmm?
Okay, sir. Bye, sir.
Okay. Okay. Bye. Good night. Yeah.
Good night, sir.
Bye, sir. Good night.